Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for attending our webinar today. My name's Paul Stacey. I'm with Commerce Build, and I'm here with my colleague, Zach Charo. And today we really want to expand upon a webinar series we started actually last month, which talks about e-business solutions. And with today's webinar, we're actually going to focus on a couple of solutions that talk about vendor portals. So that would be from our partner, ProcurePort, and also about sales tax, a really important part of the whole solution, and that's from our partner, CCH Suretax. And how these solutions actually sit within the whole kind of e-business strategy that we've all been thinking about over the last few months here is really, you know, the web store and the ERP still sit at really the heart of our part of the whole solution. But where these e-business solutions can also sit is really is highlighted here in the graphic in front of us. So last month we talked about Punch Out from Greenwing Technology, and we also talked about a PIM solution from a company called Plitix. Really great solutions that, as you can see in the diagram here, really do integrate into your web store and your ERP. And today we want to focus on how we can expand that even further, both with a vendor portal that's really going to help with the supplier side of your business, and also with a sales tax solution that's really going to help ensure that your sales tax is calculated correctly and you remain compliant there. And really, you know, we've been working with partners like ProcurePort and Suretax over the last few months as we've been putting together this whole situation with these strategic partners. And you know, really, our philosophy here is that we've partnered with people with strategic companies like this because their whole philosophy is very similar to Commerce Build. We like to, you know, work with companies in an open and transparent way. We feel that the price point of the solutions is really fair, and the whole implementation and strategic support is really top class too. So I think with that, the way this webinar is going to work is you're welcome to ask questions as we go. You can use the chat in the corner to do that, and we'll introduce Jemin and Lisa from Suretax as we go here, and you can ask the questions as they go through their presentations, and then as each of those presentations end, we can pop those questions to them. So without further ado, let me please introduce Jemin from ProcurePort here. Jemin's actually going to take us through a couple of examples of how ProcurePort might affect your particular business and how it can really help with your whole online strategy. And really, we got to meet up with Jemin some months ago because we keep getting asked as a web store supplier, we keep getting asked about, you know, what about the vendor side of things? And so really that's why we reached out, rather than try and develop our own solution, we reached out to a company like ProcurePort here to actually address that particular side of the business. So I think without further ado, let's hand over to Jemin, and yeah, let's take it away.
Hey, Paul. Yeah, first of all, thanks for inviting us to this webinar, and appreciate all the effort you put into our partnership. And hopefully we can provide you know, value to the overall business strategy and the infrastructure you're putting together for your customers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce ProcurePort and then maybe jump a little bit into our application. Feel free to ask questions. I know you might have a lot of questions. I'm going to go through them as much as I can, and obviously any questions that come up through the chat, happy to answer those as well. So I'm going to share my So just a 30-second introduction about ProcurePort. We're mainly a technology-focused company, specifically focusing on procurement software. We also have a services arm that does onboarding, implementation. Again, everything is done in-house. We don't outsource, but mainly a tech platform. some of the things that we differentiate ourselves in our space is, easy to use is our mantra. Anytime we develop any kind of new UI or functionality, it always, the first thing in mind, is it easy to use for the end user? And that's very critical in today's day and age, where people are dealing with a lot of different applications, and the last thing they want to do is learn another new application or another new functionality. So we really focus on ease of use. It is globalized, so it can be used globally across all languages, currencies, time zones. And the third thing that we really pride ourselves is our support. Our support teams are really there to support the implementation, the rollout, and ongoing use of the platform, so that clients can get the ROI that they need from our solution. Obviously, we have all the other functionality, but these are some of the key things that we focus on. The solution is SOC 2 Type 2 certified, so you can be comfortable knowing that your data is secure, and we follow all SOC 2 Type 2 principles. We actually, the ProcurePort application has been audited by third parties, a third-party auditor, and you've got the SOC 2 Type 2 certificate. And we're hosted in Azure, that gives us unlimited flexibility in scale, for our customers. We've been, we're being tracked by Gartner, Capgemini, Sped Matters. We've got good ratings with all of them. These are just some of our customers. Our customers are in various verticals: energy, telecom. This is the federal government, hospitality, accounting services, automotive. So these are just some of the examples of the types of customers that use our solution to automate some of their procurement processes. Our roadmap is, this is something at a high level. We are always working with new enhancements to our platform, staying up to date with technology. So some of the things that we're doing now is we're trying to introduce AI in different areas of our application to further make it easy for the end user to use the platform. These are some of our integration partners. And again, these are just some of them. We kind of integrate with pretty much any platform that can support an API integration, but Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, Business Central, Sage, Infor. So these are some of the examples of ERPs that we integrate with. This is a high level of the different modules that we have. Again, our goal here is to enable a vendor portal for the commerce build infrastructure. But we do have a lot of the other modules that are part of the procurement process or the sourcing process. So let me jump into our portal itself and give you a summary. So everything we do is cloud hosted. So basically, any client, they'll get a dedicated URL, so they can publish it anywhere they want, and whoever comes to that URL will come to a landing page, which is branded to their client, their logo, etc. So the users know they're doing business with that company. We also support single sign-on. So again, large enterprises they're using single sign-on to manage access to multiple applications. So we support that as well. SSA, again, multilingual, support global languages. So I'm going to log in as an administrator of the platform. You get a dashboard. Our solution has a BI tool seamlessly integrated in the platform, so that we do have the ability to display rich analytics, similar to Tableau or ClickView or Power BI. We have a seamless tool integrated in here. These are a lot of the modules. Again, so if we talk about the vendor portal, we're trying to make it really easy for onboarding. The first step of a vendor portal is onboarding a new vendor. And there's multiple ways to do it. You can create one at a time. The most popular one is inviting the vendors to self-register, which allows you to simply put in some basic information on a vendor contact and assign a different group to the vendor and send the invite. So basically, this triggers the onboarding process from the platform, and from there on, it's fully automated. The platform's now doing all the follow-ups, all the onboarding information that you need from the vendor. So that makes it a lot easier. All you're doing is sitting back, looking at who submitted documents or not. Our system's constantly going to remind the vendor of missing information. So this is the easiest way to onboard new vendors. Obviously, some clients already have existing vendors. In that case, they can also upload a file with vendor information. and we can ingest that and then further enhance that data with asking for more information from those vendors. And we can also seamlessly integrate with an ERP and pull the data directly from the ERP as well. So multiple ways to onboard. But once it comes to a vendor, you have the opportunity to collect as much information as you want from that vendor. And this is just an example. So you can collect basic company information, location information. The additional information is fully configurable. Each company has different types of data they want to maintain on their vendor based on the vertical that they are. So you can create your own custom fields that you want your vendor to fill in as part of their profile. Additional multiple contacts can be created for a single vendor. You can also create forms that you circulate to the vendor. So depending on the kind of vendor, if it's a manufacturing company versus a landscape services, you can create different forms that they need to fill out as part of their profile. And also collect different documents. Again, depending on what kind of vendor it is, you can ask for different type of documents. So again, this fully automates your onboarding, so you don't have to decide who to get what information from. Simply assign a category. Our system will ask for the appropriate documents, appropriate forms, and the data that you wish from the vendor to fill out. So this is how you onboard a vendor. The other key component is the catalog. What is the vendor providing? What are you buying from that vendor? So there's a couple of ways. This is our product catalog. Again, if you're doing punch out, obviously you're going to go to a third party, but this is your hosted catalog where you can actually have your own curated items. This could also be part of you can segment that in multiple catalogs at the supplier level or the division department level. But we capture all data points on an item, and you can actually allow you could actually have multiple vendors providing the same item possibly, and you could have individual part numbers and different contracted pricing from those vendors. So again, you can really fine tune how you organize your items as you're getting them, as your buyers are purchasing from this tool. Again, support product information as well. So this is the catalog component, and then I show the vendor portal, and then the other, the purchasing process itself. So this is somebody who's going to purchase something from the portal. They'll come in, they'll create a requisition. This is again, we are more of a sourcing side of things. So, if somebody creates a requisition, they can, click on a new requisition, fill out some data, add item manually, or actually add it from the catalog, where this is your curated catalog, which might have contracted pricing, etc. Add those items to the requisition. So this is, or even, upload an Excel file. So this is where a buyer is requesting to purchase something. And then this requisition can go through an approval workflow based on division, department, dollar threshold, hierarchy, etc. And we'll end up, with the purchasing department, which can then have visibility into the pending requisitions. And then, they can further take it forward through an approval workflow, create a PO, etc. So this is one way where you take a product and you're buying directly. The other option is to run a quote request, where you're actually adding items to a quote request. The vendor is providing you pricing back, and you have the option to then, once the pricing comes in, you have the option to select based on the item. You can select the vendors. So this is your items. These are all the different bids you've received for each item. You can decide who you want to award each item to, for example, make your award decision. And then once you finalize award, again, this could also go through an approval process. But then this is an example PO. Now this PO can be designed to look like your client's PO, obviously with different data sets, data points. But this is a visual, but this can be created directly into Business Central or Sage or whatever ERP they're using. And now this automates the whole quote to PO process and eliminating any kind of data entry. So that's again a high level of the workflow. again, we do have a lot of analytics that you can run on this data using our PI tool. So summary level of what ProcurePort is. Again, apart from that, we have auctions and contract management. We can automate the entire PO, invoice receiving, three-way, two-way matching, all of that. And again, also have a spend analysis module that allows you to analyze your historic spend, make some strategic decisions on how you want to, organize and do your future purchasing. So I want to stop right there. A lot of information. I see a bunch of questions coming in, but Paul, I'm going to hand it back to you and let me know what questions you have.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks, Jemin. Yeah, so we did. You're right. There's a couple of questions here that did come in. Someone's asking here, what are some of the typical integration points between ProcurePort and the ERP?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So it really depends on the automation you're requesting. Like, we have customers who basically have a buying team. They want to purchase something, and it goes through an approval workflow and creates a PO. So it's a very simplistic. I just showed you the requisition module, added something to the catalog, they send a request, somebody approves it, it creates a PO in the ERP. So as simple as that. The other integration points could be bringing supplier data from the ERP into ProcurePort. That way they only have one master repository or source of truth, which may lie in their ERP, and we would just pull that from there. Another integration point could be, spend data, for example. Like, we have customers where, when they're requesting to purchase something, they want to see how it aligns with the budget. So the budget numbers are sitting in the ERP. So we would bring those in, and then we would warn the supplier or the buyer, like, hey, this is over budget or under, whatever the case may be, and it has to go through the approval workflow. So we will bring budget numbers in. Supplier data is another one. And in more extreme cases, would even bring the approval workflows that are already set in their ERP, so they don't have to set those in ProcurePort. We'll bring the approval workflow and the thresholds and all of that from the ERP into our portal, and they can manage that in their portal, so that real time we're pulling that data and synchronizing it with ProcurePort. So some of the examples, of integration points.
Yeah, great. Thank you. That's good. And then from the supplier end, another question here: how easy is it for the actual suppliers to respond to the quote requests that you're putting up there on ProcurePort?
Yeah, great question. And let me jump right into that, and I'll show you that as a screen as well. So one of the things, again, like I said, we like to make things easy for them. Supplier can log in. A lot of times the suppliers would have saved this information somewhere on their desktop or somewhere. But they can log in and see all the information or all the RFQs or RFPs or POs that they've been awarded. All of that data is visible to them through the vendor portal. But the other thing that we make it easy is, what happens is, whenever somebody triggers an event, the vendor gets an email, with a link into it. And this link takes them directly to the page that they're supposed to, go and respond. So in this case, the vendor's log, they'll come directly to the page where they need to provide a bid. So one click, they could be on their mobile phone, tablet, anywhere. They don't need to remember their login, anything at all. They just click the link. They're on the page where they need to provide a bid or take action. In this case, this bid requires, pricing, but, the buyer has also requested, additional information, such as delivery charge, color preferences. You can also ask for item images, for example. So maybe you can make that required. In that case, the supplier cannot submit a bid unless they put up at least one image about the product. So again, this is a good way to collect additional data on your catalog and kind of enriching the catalog that you have hosted. But when you get the product bids back, you automatically have all the data related to that item from the supplier. So you can make all that happen while you're collecting the bid. So this is supplier, like I said, is very straightforward. They have real-time messaging capabilities, so they can ask questions to the buyer. It's all email backed up, so all of these communication can be done right through the portal. So that's, again, the supplier side, really straightforward. There's not much there. They have their They can manage their own catalog as well if they want to. Again, this is something that the buyer can decide. Does the supplier have the ability to control that or not? So you can expose all this to the supplier. If you want, they can manage their own catalog, update the images, making it very easy for the buyer to, so they don't have to worry about managing the supplier catalogs on the supplier's behalf, right? It's their job to do that. So pushing that back on their side.
That's great. I think there's an awful lot of integration opportunity between the ERP and ProcurePort. So thanks for addressing that. There's another question actually came in, just expanded on what you're saying there. I'm actually going to flip back to my screen because I think mine can actually help also just explain how to answer this one. And really, it does talk about what kind of product attributes you can capture in ProcurePort, and this was one of the inspirations for bringing in Jemin and his company to talk to us about what a real good vendor portal could do, because back here in our whole sort of e-business diagram, you sort of think at the end of the day, you want a great looking web store that is full of product data, easy to find, full of images, as Jemin was mentioning, and maybe PDFs and spec sheets and all that good stuff. But a lot of the time, the struggle at the web store end is actually obtaining that data in the first place. And one of the, in many of the conversations actually that Jemin and I have been through here, it's actually trying to push the responsibility back to the vendors to provide that data. So if they can provide the images, the attributes of your items, he was mentioning there like colors and materials and so on, or PDFs and all of that stuff. If they can provide that right at the very start, then all of that data can actually flow through here, to the web store, optionally through a PIM. So, if you attended the Plitix webinar we did a few weeks ago, then the vendor portal could well be feeding data into the PIM. Where all this product data can then sit, and then that in turn could feed through to the web store. And one of the great things that Jemin, you and I talked about was, really the idea that a vendor could be, I guess, highly encouraged, or or even forced to provide, that kind of underlying data if they are to be awarded the purchase order.
Yeah, and again, sometimes I think vendors already have all that data. It's sitting somewhere on some internal platforms. If this is giving them a way to share that data, a lot of times if you just email me something, it's hard for them. But when they can organize it and send it across in an organized fashion, I think vendors might be more inclined to provide that data. Just a thought here. Yeah.
Absolutely. Jemin, that was great. Thank you so much for that. I know there's a lot more to your product than certainly more than you can cover in a webinar today. So everybody on the call, if you're interested in talking to Jemin, finding out more about ProcurePort, please do reach out to Zach. He can put you in touch with Jemin and get the ball rolling that way. Okay, that's great. So just as a reminder, back here in our eBusiness Essentials diagram, now we can see, where our vendor portal sits, and we now want to move across and talk about sales tax. And often we get asked as we're implementing web stores, what the heck I can do about the challenging world of sales taxes. Up here in Canada, sales tax is pretty easy, as it is across a lot of the world, but not so much for our friends down in the United States. So we've developed a partnership with a company called Wolters Kluwer, who have a product called Suretax, and I'm pleased to say that we have Lisa here to talk about Suretax, and we're just going to kick this off with a little introductory video.
Continuous sales and use tax legislation changes across more than 24,000 jurisdictions. Makes it difficult for growing businesses to accurately track, calculate, and comply with tax obligations, especially for complex, high-volume industries. Manual calculations or basic sales tax automation are inaccurate and clunky, leading to hefty fines and penalties down the road. That can limit future growth. Take the risk out of sales and use tax compliance with CCH Suretax. CCH Suretax keeps you up to date on more than 100,000 rates and rules changes. accurately calculates sales and use tax, and seamlessly flows data into return forms for you to remit tax on time. Our end-to-end cloud-based automation platform spans the entire sales and use tax lifecycle, from correctly determining rates and taxability to providing you with a powerful business intelligence tool for your strategic decisions. Automate time-consuming and error-prone processes. Track economic nexus obligations. Stay on top of tax changes relevant to your industry. Face audits with confidence. Make data-driven business decisions with tax implications in mind. Reduce tax risk associated with growth. Trust CCH Suretax for your sales and use tax compliance.
All right. Well, thank you, Paul, so much for allowing me to be here today. I'm Lisa Kugel I'm the sales channel partner and affiliates manager for the Microsoft channel at Wolters Kluwer and CCH. You just saw a very high level view of our sales tax solution. I've been with Wolters Kluwer actually 6.5 years, and I spent 5.5 years working with CPAs in the professional division, helping them with their digital transformation. I have 20 years experience in direct sales and strategic focus on leveraging technology to increase productivity and profits for businesses. So really excited to be partnering with Commerce Build because they do just that for your company. And Microsoft customers in their digital transformation journey right now are handling a lot, and so are many customers out there. So today I'm excited to talk about Wolters Kluwer and CCH Suretax. So you might be wondering, hey, how do I choose a tax partner and why would I choose Wolters Kluwer? I think number one, we're dependable. We're actually a 187-year-old company. I mean, I know that's crazy to say, but it's the truth. We have deep domain experience and products known worldwide. We're not a software company that decided to get into tax software. We're actually a tax research company that began creating software for our customers. Likely your tax departments already know who we are. CCH Wolters Kluwer has the research products that they have offered since 1913 are very well known in that realm. In fact, 100% of the top 100 accounting firms in the United States actually use one of our solutions. And I'm proud to say that 93% of the Fortune 500 companies use one of our solutions as well. And one of our monikers, our moniker is when you have to be right. And I think that shows up in the fact that the IRS also uses our calculation engine as well. So you can depend on us. We're not going to be here today and gone tomorrow. You can depend on us to be there going forward. So I love this picture. It makes me laugh a little bit, but it's also really does have a picture speaks 1,000 words, right? So you don't want to be in the wide ocean of sales tax and really not know what's coming up behind you or ahead of you. A lot of the challenges that are out there is there's 100,000 taxability changes annually. There's 24,000 taxing authorities and 10,000 taxing jurisdictions. So when I'm doing presentations and I'm just saying those words, sometimes I can just like blow right through that, but really just take a moment and think about that. 100,000 taxability changes annually. Most customers would not be able to keep up with that. So that's why you would engage a partner like us. Sales and use taxes, we have constant legislation changes. Sales tax rates and rules vary widely between locale and industry. And CCH Suretax has a dedicated local research manager who, along with a team of researchers, verifies about 1,500 local rates of various types. Sales taxes, telecom taxes, franchise licensing, and we do that every month by phone calls, email, and web research. So that's something you want to know. You want to know who is actually doing this research work when you partner with a tax solution. So we're committed to tracking those 10,000 taxing jurisdictions and 24,000 taxing authorities with precise use tax and sales tax calculations. We mitigate audit risk. This solution was built from the ground up to mitigate audit risk and reduce the total cost of compliance. CCH Suretax creates an audit trail and allows calculation results to be recreated and defended. So that's really important if you do get into an audit, because audits and fines can erode profitability. It's also good to note, talk about how do you know when Nexus applies. So Nexus really became a big deal in 2018 with South Dakota versus Wayfair. And now you don't have just physical Nexus. So most retailers, they know that, but it's good to bring that to the forefront again. So companies now must register in tax jurisdictions where they have reached a specific sales threshold. So no matter if you have a physical presence or not, if you reach a Nexus threshold, you have to register. So our tax product dashboard actually enables you to monitor Nexus and receive timely notifications when next steps are required. So if you reach a Nexus in a state, it'll let you know, and you can take those next steps. All right, so I'm going to dive down a little bit more into the rabbit hole of tax complexities. It's interesting because I have customers out there who are still trying to keep track of tax with Excel spreadsheets and lookup tools. And that's great if you only have a few things to deal with in a month. But when you are an e-commerce provider and you are retailing to customers, oftentimes you're going to cross state lines, you're going into different counties. And so let's talk a little bit about that. So let's talk about sales tax complexity based on location. Take a look at Boulder, Colorado. They've got a wide range of taxability there. So, for example, the candy is, for example, taxed at 7.86%, while gum is only taxed at 8.845. Well, candy and gum are not the same. So, who knew that? Wolters Kluwer did, actually. Restaurant meals are taxed at 8.9%, and software as a service is only taxed at 3.86%. Where recreational marijuana is taxed at a whopping 24.4%. So you can see just in that location, just that zip code, there's a lot going on. And then next, to make things even more complicated, we can talk about the tax complexity based on volume and amount. So the donuts are pretty interesting. So groceries are tax exempt in most states. But if you make something out of your groceries, now it is taxed differently. So prepared foods, for example, like donuts or pasta that you pick up from a deli counter, is taxable at different rates in different states. So for example, in Massachusetts, baked goods, this kind of crack at, baked goods sold in units of 6 or more for takeout, including a variety of items totaling 6 or more servings, are tax exempt. But if you buy one donut, if you're watching your waistline, right, you're going to get taxed. So it's just a really interesting situation where it comes to food. So if you're dealing with any kind of food product or prepared product like that, it's important for you to be precise with your tax calculations. And then my next favorite is the balloon ride in Kansas. If it's tethered to the ground, it's considered an amusement tax. But if you untether it and you actually take a flight, it is taxed as a transportation tax. So again, how can you keep up with all this? It's really almost impossible. And so that's what we're here to do to help you. Now, what are some of the things that make this a little bit more, serious, I guess, on the serious side of this? It's important to understand that you can be fined up to 2% of your revenue. So think about that for a moment. Think about the revenue that you're generating and understand that up to 2% of that revenue can be taken for fines if you get audited. So how often does that happen? Well, 97% of businesses report being audited in the last 5 years. But I think the part that's even more sort of like intense about that is of those, 35% of those businesses report being audited 5 or more times in the past 5 years. So once you're on the radar, they kind of got you in their crosshairs, right? So you want to make sure that you have a product and a solution, again, that's defendable, that's going to help you and keep you compliant. And that's the most important thing, is keeping your company safe and compliant. And that's what CCH Suretax does. So again, you're thinking, yeah, okay, that's great. Now I know there's a risk. I understand what Wolters Kluwer, that you're a great company, but again, why do I pick you? Why do I choose you as my sales tax partner? Well, for one thing, you want accuracy. So other solutions can't distinguish the tax difference between 6 items like 6 donuts in 1 donut. So you want to make sure that if you're in that category or industry that you are getting accurate calculations. Our experience, I've already talked about 187 years behind us. We deliver also a single platform to manage the rate calculation. You don't have to go in and out of a platform. So many vendors have you in and outside of their product. But when you're in the Suretax product, you just are in the one platform. You stay inside that platform. It saves a lot of time and keeps things productivity high for your workers. So, and then expertise. Other vendors may not, they may consider tax automation as a technology for tax, but we really look at it as tax automation and providing tax expertise through technology. It's just a different way of looking at things, but I think you want to partner with somebody who's very ingrained in tax when you're dealing with, the tax management. So that's one of the reasons why you would choose Wolters Kluwer. And this is just a quick snapshot of what the dashboard looks like. And again, we've had over 400 billion transactions in 2022. And some additional reasons why you would choose us as your partner. Again, we have the end-to-end cloud solution, so one platform. But most importantly is that all of our connectors and integrations in development are built and maintained in-house by Wolters Kluwer development teams and employees. So we don't have third parties creating our integrations. And that's important because many of the other vendors and sales tax providers do that. Why is that important? Because if you have an issue with one of the connectors or an integration and you don't know who to go to get that fixed, if there's problems in the system, then suddenly you're being passed around, right? And that's no fun. With us, it's just one company to reach out to. We developed it, we maintain it, we understand it. So that's been a very big deal to our customer base. And of course, we are SOC 1, SOC 2 compliant. It's designed for Power BI, but then the next piece is that our implementation is just stellar. So in the marketplace, again, you may find other sales tax vendors and providers, but many of them, again, use third-party implementers. And so when you have somebody as a third-party implementer implementing your system, you've got another hand in the mix. So our team is Wolters Kluwer employees. As we work with your partner Commerce Build, they get to know our teams, they understand each other, it makes things go faster, and it's just a smoother ride, right? And it's already difficult because it's a tax situation. And so we want this to go as smoothly for you as possible. The second thing is that you want to make sure with any tax provider that you work with, the mapping of your business is very important. If it's mapped incorrectly in the beginning, sort of that's the foundation, it's going to cause problems down the road if it's not done right. So we take that very seriously, and we have a team that will work through that mapping process with you. So as we implement, you're going to have a project manager, you'll have a technical consultant, as well as a functional consultant. Then you'll have a tax workshop, and that's when we really get to know you, and we really go very deeply into your business, and we make sure that everything is getting mapped properly. So you might be wondering, well, how long does it take to implement this product? Usually between 30 and 60 days. The average is probably 60 days. But you also want to make sure that you have good after-sales support, right? So once you implement, it's not like you're just out there by yourself after that. So again, our support team is US-based. It's Wolters Kluwer employees, and you have one place to go for tax questions. So if you have any tax issues and need those questions answered, or if you have a technical problem, you go to the same customer support line. That's Monday through Friday. You can call on the phone, you can chat, or you can put in a ticket. So there's 3 ways for you to contact our support team and get quick response. And then we will help you. If there is a development issue or something comes up technically and that needs to be escalated, and let's say maybe we need to reach out again to Commerce Build, all of that will go through our system, and then we will work closely with Commerce Build to make sure you get taken care of, whatever that situation might be. So again, that has been extremely important to the customers that we work with, because they want to be taken care of, and they want to know that after the sale, they still have visibility and ability to take care of their problems quickly. So what I'd like to do now is just show a quick, very high level demo of what the platform looks like. If you'd like something deeper than that, if you'd like to go farther, just reach out to Commerce Build and they can set that up for you. And then we can look a little bit deeper, get some additional information from you and make sure that we show you the platform as granular as you would like to see it. So we'll go ahead and show you that right now.
CCH Suretax provides an immersive yet powerful tool that exceeds expectation. As you can see within the tool, there is a host of information that's at your fingertips, providing that immersive experience that I talked about earlier. You're able to see a little bit of information on these cards right in front of you, and you can drill into each of these as you move forward. The other thing about this tool is around the setup. As you can see on the map here, we have product mappings or SKUs that we give you right out of the box. We can also help you to map specific transactions that are specific to your industry as well. Something else that makes this tool so powerful is Nexus. Whether you're in a specific physical location or you're tracking economic nexus, or maybe it's both, Suretax has you covered. One of the other great things is let's say that you're thinking about selling in, say, Idaho here. We can let you know and keep track of the revenue amount as well as what the state threshold is or the transactions. The other awesome thing about this tool is the exemption certificate warnings. You can quickly and easily find out if you have any exemption certificates that are expired. Are there some that are about to expire? Is there any missing data? Again, Suretax has that information at your fingertips. The other really exciting thing about Suretax is reporting. I love going into the reporting. From the reporting standpoint here, at the bottom we have a variety of reports based on the transactions that have been calculated within the tool. You can click on these, export to Excel, and use pivot tables. Additionally, we have some very, very powerful interactive reports. We have a state reconciliation report that you could see here that allows you to be able to take a look at gross revenue across a variety of states. You can even drill down by month. Let's take a look at February, and you could drill into California, look at the county level, or even the state level and see what those gross sales, exempt sales, and net sales were. Such power at your fingertips. Finally, we have the Suretax returns. The most powerful thing about the returns is, one, we provide a variety of options for you to help you to file and remit those returns. You can see how many are due, how many are unfiled, and if there are any that are past due. Finally, if we go down to any one of these forms, which we automatically populate for you, you have options to edit the return, view the return, and update the status. And with that, that is the Suretax platform.
Wow, that was great, Lisa. Thank you so much. I personally learned a whole bunch of things there about donuts and balloons for sure. So thank you for presenting that. Yeah, so as you were talking there, we did get a couple of questions come in. I think you tackled the first one. You were talking there about the implementation time it takes, and I think you were mentioning sort of 60 to 90 days. So that seems like I guess a reasonable period of time. For implementing. And one of the other people also asked about what sets you apart from the competition. And again, I really loved your slide about it's not just software. This is expertise and that you're also offering. So thank you for that. I hope that answers the question that came in. There were two that I just want to sort of fire your way. One was, do you handle returns as well?
Yeah, actually we do. And we have 3 levels of that. So I will tell you, CCH Suretax prepares everything so that you can do your own returns pretty easily. But depending on, there's a lot of contraction in the market right now. And so if you're trying to level up your tax team to be able to do other things, we've got the lowest level is that it creates it and then you do the return. The second level is that you actually get some help from us. So you basically, everything's in the system. We go in, we set the return up, You look at it, sign off on it, and then we will help you do that. And then the third level is we basically do the whole thing. You get an account manager and we handle it across the board. So, depending on how many jurisdictions you're in and things like that, when you get up to that upper level, it really is when things start getting a little bit more complex and you're trying to have more productivity with your team.
Right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and then another question here was, what about exemption certificates?
Oh, yeah. So exemption certificate tracking is within this Suretax system. If you have a lot, so we sometimes work with manufacturers and things like that, and they have a lot more exemption certificates because of the line of industry they're in. If you're going over 1,500 exemption certificates, we have some more granular and deeper level that you can go into that as well. So we've got a couple of options for you, but we absolutely take care of it, and it is part of our solution.
Great. That's it for the questions. I think I just want to wrap up saying, we really love the whole Suretax solution because it is a cloud-based solution, as you mentioned, which really makes the e-commerce end of it, great, because it means that, all the data that the e-commerce system needs is sitting up there in the cloud, whether it revolves around exemption certificates and, special tax rates for special, down to county level and product levels and so on.
Yeah.
And I think, quite likely, Lisa, I don't know, but quite likely we've probably got mutual customers who are, a little bit kind of apprehensive about actually expanding their market into different areas of the US because of the complexity of sales tax. And, so hopefully with a partner like you on board, our mutual customers here can really get comfortable with this whole complex world. Yeah,
they definitely shouldn't let the sales, anything with sales tax hold them back from their business. And so if that is happening, honestly, putting this module into effect for them and this platform into effect is going to help increase their sales, right? Absolutely. You don't have to be afraid when you know that you're right, that the calculations are correct. So we keep you compliant, and that allows you to grow your business. And that's what we want to help you do.
Perfect. Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Lisa. I think that was very interesting.
Thank you. It was great to be here, and we're very excited to continue to work with you and your customers.
Yeah, so thank you very much, both to Lisa and to Jemin. I think we've all hopefully learned some really great and interesting things today, and got some good takeaways to take back to our businesses. I just want to really reiterate that, Commerce Build here sits, as we're seeing in the diagram on the screen, really Commerce Build is just sitting here as one of the components of a full e-business solution, and that there are other components out there that will have some interaction with Commerce Build, certainly some interaction with the ERP, but each of them could also be interacting with each other. And I think, at the end of the day here, I think you have to look at each of these solutions in their own right and figure out, where they sit in your whole business system, and really just take care not to try and over-engineer how these all hang together. There are benefits in all of the applications we've been looking at, both in this webinar and in the webinar we hosted a couple of weeks ago. And it's really important to be able to focus on the strengths of each of those areas of e-business, and use these tools that are really there. They're affordable. They're great partners that we're working with, and I think you'll find some really great benefit in working with them. I'm going to hand over to Zach here at this point, but really, we remain, both Lisa, Jemin, myself, we all remain, around for further questions. You can fire those off to Zach, and we'll all make sure that we get some responses to you. That's great. Zach, over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Paul. And thank you all for making the time to join us for this webinar today. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. Most of you already probably have a recurring account review call with me, and this is something I'd be happy to discuss with you on that call. If you don't have one set up already, feel free to reach out to me, and we can set that up and then get you on a cadence where we're always checking in to make sure we're doing everything we can to promote your business and success with Commerce Build. And in the meantime, if you have any questions about ProcurePort or Suretax, if you'd like to get connected with them or have some initial discussions, that's something we can do as soon as you like. So just get in touch with me at the email or phone number you see on your screen, and I'll be happy to have that discussion with you and get things rolling. And if nothing else, thank you again for making the time, and thank you for trusting Commerce Build with your business. And we look forward to helping you grow and connect and get the most out of your e-commerce and really your whole ERP experience.
Thanks, everybody.